Okay, so here's a question that I have asked God recently, and I've asked him multiple times that I do suggest that you ask him as well. And this is if you're struggling with certain things in your life. For instance, there may be, you may find yourself having the desire to smoke again or drink again or revisit some old ways or habits, or you may find yourself responding to certain situations in your life in a certain way that reflects on who you were in the past, or it may reflect on something that you thought you had gotten over, but obviously you didn't, right? If it's resurfacing, or if you have the desire to do it. So that has happened to me. And so I asked God, I said, God, who was I when I started drinking? Who was I? What was I going through? And why did I feel like it was okay for me to turn to alcohol to fix whatever that issue was that was going on in my life? I used to smoke. So it was like, Lord, the desire, the taste, or whatever the case may be, is trying to represent itself. Or you can, I picked it up again. I drank alcohol, Lord. Like, what happened that I just was so blind to that I couldn't be strong enough not to go back to these things? So, Lord, please show me who I was in that moment when I first picked it up or I first did this thing, what was going on in my life, and why did I turn to this? So I can give it to you, I can be healed, and I can move on with my life. So I do not have to deal with this thing again. Obviously, there's still some residue. Obviously, there's still something that I didn't heal from. There is still something from my past that is still presenting itself in this moment of my life. Or I may respond, I don't know, stress, frustration, whatever the case may be. You respond to something. Well, picking up alcohol and cigarettes is a response to a situation. It's a coping mechanism. It's a stress relief. It may feel like a stress relief for you. You may want to go get high. You may want to, who knows, something that you know you shouldn't even be doing anymore, because you shouldn't be responding to that situation in your life anymore in that way. So it's like, God, I need to go back and heal whoever I was at that time. And every other moment connected to every time I picked up a cigarette, I smoked weed, I drank alcohol, I fell into, I don't know, past sex with somebody, um, emotional affair, whatever the case may be. Like, I cussed somebody out, I just quit, I um, spoke some very horrible words. Who was I in this moment? What was going on in my life that I still need to heal from today, that even I thought I was healed from and I had gotten over? There is obviously still some residue. There's something that I'm not aware of. There is, when these, and what is the situation that is presenting itself that is causing me to respond in this way? That is a question that you have to ask God for, like, full, complete healing. You have to, these are the questions that you cannot be afraid of, that you can't run from. And I know it can feel hard because that part of your life is so attached to you that as you become someone new, you become who God has called you to be, or your God is recovering all in your life, but these things you can't take with you. It can feel hard because it's like, now, man, who am I going to be if I'm not doing that, or if I'm not doing this, or if I'm not, whatever the case may be, because it's been a part of your life. It's so embedded in your brain that you almost can't possibly imagine not doing it from time to time. You need healing and you need deliverance and you need God to heal you in the moment that you picked it up, and there in whatever other moment that was that has attached itself to your life, and you haven't forgiven, you haven't let go, you haven't surrendered. You haven't said, Lord, heal me in that moment. Like, I'm sitting here right now and I can think about when I first had a drink of alcohol, where I was in my life and who I was. And woo, Lord, I could think about when I took my first, like, I started smoking. I can think about who I was at that moment. And and when those desires still come up, because they do, it's temptation. When those desires and those things still come up and try to say, hey, you can deal with this situation in this way. Yeah, I'm not going to say every time that I had passed the test. And so now I know, like, God, I don't want to drink alcohol anymore. I don't want to smoke no more. I don't want to get high anymore. I don't want to respond to any situation in whatever way I used to, because I was broken, I was wounded, I was bitter, I was just in a bad place. And I need to be healed completely, like renewed and transformed in my mind. So, who was I? What was I going through? Why did I turn to that? And Lord, I surrender it to you. Heal me, because I don't want to turn to those things anymore. They are not greater than you. They are not more than you, and they're definitely not worth my life in the plan that you have for me. So that's the question that you have to ask God, and be ready for the answer. Be ready for whatever He says. Because you may be shocked. It may be something that you had that happened in your life that you had forgotten about. It could be something that happened to you at 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. You could have been a teenager. Who knows? It could be moments where God is just like, okay, here you go. This is why you're still doing this. This is why you're still responding. Now, time to deal with it. Because now it's like you can't unsee it. So I dare you. That is a challenge for you to ask God in that way to receive the healing that you know you need.